the concentration of zinc sulfate solution increases while that of copper sulfate solution decreases. Again, the concentration of this solution, that is zinc sulfate solution, increases after some time, but on right hand side concentration of copper sulfate solution decreases. The two solutions in the beakers remain electrically neutral, but solutions remain neutral and they do not get any charge. Now, let us explain all these observations. First, zinc is oxidized to zinc ions which go into solution during the reaction. That is, this zinc is changing into zinc 2 positive ions plus 2 electrons. That is, this process is known as oxidation, as zinc is losing 2 electrons. The electrons released at zinc move towards copper electrodes through wires, where these are accepted by copper ions of the copper sulfate solution. Let me clear this point through diagram. As we have said that zinc ions of this solution lose electrons, so the zinc ions will move into solution while the electrons will flow to this side through these external wires. Here I have shown by arrows that these electrons are moving towards this side. During this side, copper ions which are present in the copper sulfate solution, they will gain these electrons and change into copper ions, as shown in this reaction, that copper ions take 2 electrons lost by zinc and change into copper solid. The above reactions clearly show the overall reaction to be. So, we can easily write the overall reaction by combining this reaction of reduction as well as this reaction of oxidation. So, overall reaction seems to be like this, that is zinc plus copper ions changing into zinc 2 positive ions plus copper solid. Thus, the direction of flow of electrons is from zinc to copper, means the electrons are flowing from zinc to copper side, means left hand side to right hand side. Now, what will be the direction of current? As you already know that current flows in the reverse direction, means the direction of conventional current is from this beaker, means right hand side to left hand side. The electrode where oxidation occurs is called anode, and the electrode where reduction occurs is called cathode. This point is to be noted. Oxidation always occurs at anode and reduction always at cathode. Anode constitutes negative terminal and cathode constitutes positive terminal in case of electrochemical cells, means always anode is made negative and cathode is made positive. Now, what are half cells and half cell reactions? The two vessels of the indirect redox reactions are called two half cells, means the two beakers or vessels where oxidation and reduction are occurring. They are known as two half cells, and the corresponding reactions occurring are called half reactions. The half cell in which oxidation is taking place is called oxidation half cell, and the reaction occurring is called oxidation half reaction. So, it is that half cell where oxidation occurs, that is called oxidation half cell, and the corresponding reaction taking place is called oxidation half reaction. And the second half cell where reduction is taking place is called reduction half cell, and the reaction occurring is called reduction half reaction. So, in this particular kind of cell, this side having zinc is acting as anode and is called oxidation half cell, and the reaction taking place, that is the reaction of zinc in which it loses electrons, is called oxidation half reaction. And the right hand side where copper is undergoing reduction is called reduction half cell, and this reaction corresponding to the formation of solid copper from the ions is called reduction half reaction. Now, let us study something about salt bridge and its functions. As we have seen in case of electrochemical cell that there is present an inverted U-shaped tube containing concentrated solutions of inert electrolytes such as KCl, KNO3, etc., and it connects the two solutions. So, what is this tube? Basically, it is inverted U-shaped tube in which one of these electrolytes may be KCl, KNO3, that is potassium nitrate, or ammonium nitrate may be present, and it connects the two solutions as we have seen in the diagram of electrochemical cell. The two openings of U-tube are plugged with porous materials like glass wool or cotton, and the ends of this salt bridge are plugged with glass wool or cotton. Now, what is the function of this salt bridge in the electrochemical cell? It basically does two functions, that is, it completes the reaction, it completes the circuit, as the external circuit of electrochemical cell is completed by wires, but the two solutions are connected through salt bridge. So, we can say that the two solutions as well as the two rods are in connection. So, in this way it helps to complete the circuit of cell. Second important function is it maintains the electrical neutrality of two solutions, means it keeps the two solutions neutral, and it is very important function. Let us go into detail of this function. As we have studied that zinc rod loses electrons and changes into zinc ions which move into zinc sulfate solution. So, the concentration of zinc ions increases in this solution, due to which this half cell acquires overall positive charge and oxidation stops. So, what happens actually if we see this diagram of electrochemical cell? As we know that zinc is losing electrons and changing into ions, these ions will move into solution. So, the concentration of zinc ions in this solution of zinc sulfate increases. That means, what charge will be on this beaker? It will acquire overall positive charge because positive charged ions increase. So, this vessel will stop its functioning. Simultaneously, in this half cell, after the gain of 2 electrons, these copper ions are decreasing in number. So, due to decrease in the concentration of copper ions, only sulfate ions will be left behind. So, overall charge on this beaker will be negative. So, it will also stop its working. So, in the second beaker, due to decrease in the concentration of copper ions and accumulation of sulfate ions, this half cell acquires overall negative charge and reduction stops. That means no oxidation, no reduction. So, cell will stop its working. Now, what happens? Now starts the function of salt bridge to neutralize excess zinc ions. An equivalent number of chloride ions from the salt bridge move into zinc sulfate solution. Again, it is clear from the diagram that when this beaker gets overall positive charge, this salt bridge, as I have already told you, that it contains any electrolyte. Let us suppose it is having KCl, that is potassium chloride. So, negatively charged ions, that is chloride ions, will move into this beaker so as to neutralize the excess positive charge, and one zinc ion will require two chloride ions for its neutralization, and after the neutralization this cell will again start its working, means oxidation will start. Similarly, in the second beaker, as we have studied that there is accumulation of negative charge due to the presence of sulfate ions, and this cell has stopped its working. Now, what happens again from KCl? The positively charged ions, that is potassium ions, will move into solution so as to neutralize this excess of sulfate ions, and one potassium ion will require two potassium ions will be required for one sulfate ion. So, after the combination of potassium ions and sulfate ions, neutral solution will be formed, and reduction will again start in this cell. That means we can say similarly, to neutralize excess sulfate ions, an equivalent number of potassium ions from the salt bridge move into solution. Thus, two solutions become neutral, as the chloride ions have again neutralized the oxidation half cell, and potassium ions already have neutralized the reduction half cell. That means oxidation and reduction will again start, or we can say that working of cell starts again. So, this is all about. Let us have a brief review of all slides that we have, what we have done in this lecture. First of all, what we did, we defined oxidation and reduction according to two concepts, that is classical and electronic, like this: addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen. Similarly, oxidizing agent. Then we studied about reduction according to classical concept, reducing agent, electronic concept, oxidation and reduction. Then we studied that how oxidation and reduction are complementary to each other, that they cannot take place by themselves. Then we studied about redox reactions, their types in detail, about direct redox reaction. Here we took the example of zinc rod in copper sulfate solution, and then indirect redox reaction, where I have explained you by taking an electrochemical cell, that is zinc-copper cell, and then about half cells, half cell reactions, and finally we studied about salt bridge and its functions. So this is all about my lecture. Thank you.